Hey guys, my name's Crystal Kenny, and I'm in love with creating. All things artistic and imagination involved. I'm an American girl who chased her creative dreams all the way to Paris, France, making a living using photography. This podcast takes you inside the stories of all the artsy folks I've met along the way and gives you that extra push to discover your creative gifts. The desire to create is deeply inside each and every one of us, and I give you the tools and inspiration to find a new way of living a more creative life. This is La Vie Creative, the podcast. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today,
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm awesome. And you are the first person I'm interviewing who makes their own lingerie, has their own lingerie brand. And I'm super excited to share that with listeners. But I wanted to jump right into, what is your Paris story? Where are you from and what brought you here?
Okay, well, let's start from the beginning then. I'm from the suburbs of Los Angeles,
Very cool.
and I grew up there, and I went to fashion school there. And then after I had a particularly hard breakup with an ex of mine, it really just gave me the motivation to just leave everything behind, which is what I always, I'd always wanted to do that. But, I just didn't have that kick I needed to just get the hell out of
Yeah.
there. So that was a really good, motivational factor. So that got me here, which is great. And then I was finding any excuse basically to stay here because I knew I wanted to work in fashion. I knew I wanted to actually stay and live here. But I told my parents, like, oh, I'm just gonna go for a year to study French. I'll come back after a year.
You were lying. You knew it in your heart.
Well, what happened was that I was studying and it was going great. But as soon as I got here, I met my partner.
Mm.
And so yeah, and then it just, kept going, and now I've been here for 10 years. I'm like, wow, where did the time
I
go?
know,
Like,
that's crazy. Oh my gosh, 10 years. Are you applying for citizenship?
I am actually. I was kind of putting it off for a long time because it's just,
So much work.
a lot of
Yeah,
paperwork.
I feel you.
Yeah,
I'm,
you must be in a similar situation.
yeah, same for me. Exact same situation.
Yeah. I mean, we have similar like backgrounds, and your pair story is pretty similar to mine, I think, isn't it? Like you're about 20. I read that you're about 26 years old or something when you came here, and
Exactly. Yeah, same story. Like I
yeah.
was kind of running away and I told my parents I'd come for a year. I was just going to be an au pair, study French, and now it's 10 years later. So same
Yeah,
story.
like like oops, where did the time go?
Exactly.
Didn't see that
Wise.
happening.
I mean, we've been having a lot of fun, but Paris is not
Yeah.
all fun. It's definitely some high highs and low lows, but
Oh
so
yeah.
cool. So what led you into this then?
Well, I was always a fashion designer. That was my métier, like from the beginning. But lingerie is something I just kind of fell into because I had started out wanting to design women's higher end women's ready to wear.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, that's what everybody wants to design when they first get into fashion. Usually, it's like haute couture. It's that high end evening wear type stuff, the red carpet type things.
Yeah.
Like, but there's not a lot of jobs like to be had in that sort of like specialty area. And what I realized was that the haute couture that really I love, that I dreamed of, doesn't actually exist anymore. It hasn't existed since like, I don't know, the 19th century or yeah. So yeah, so I mean I had to like, change tack or whatever. And I just kind of fell into lingerie because somebody gave me a job
Yes.
and I realized, hey, I really like this. And it kind of like dovetails with all my other interests of like, like being body positive and feminist and like sex positive and all that stuff. So it was kind of like a strange awakening, like a
Yeah.
renaissance. It was really cool actually. I don't know. And then I just kept going to lingerie because, well, for logistical reasons too, actually. It's I live in a small apartment and I work in my apartment, so I can't stock a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So imagine stocking like thousands or hundreds of dresses,
Yeah.
how much room that would take. It would take up my whole bedroom
Yeah.
more.
Definitely.
So 100 panties I could do, but not
Yeah. A
100
little
dresses.
less like with our small Paris apartments is a little more doable.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain this to our American friends. Like they just don't get it. Like, oh, I think my friend's husband was like, "Oh, you live in a shoebox."
Yes, that's actually the perfect way to describe how we live, shoe boxes.
Yeah, Yeah, but it's a cute shoebox in a nice store or something,
Exactly. And the whole purpose of living in Paris is to go out, right? Like we go out
Exactly.
and we don't spend
Exactly.
much time in our apartments other than to make lingerie and sleep.
Exactly. Well, I do spend a lot of time in my apartment because I'm a little bit of an introvert,
Yeah.
but I do enjoy that when I go out, the city is beautiful and, full of people like jostling you and mean people sometimes, but also the city is
Yeah,
beautiful.
exactly. After
And
10 years, we know that.
yeah, we know. I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Yeah, every time I meet visitors, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you must love living here." And I'm like, "Yes and no." Like, just sometimes I get a little tired of the jostling of people. Like,
Well, it's like any city
yeah,
though. Like who loves, a city 100% of the time, all the time. Like New York City is like a hardcore intense city.
yeah,
And you can't, I don't know, maybe there's just a personality type, like, like some cities have personalities and maybe it's just that we are Paris type personalities and
exactly.
then other people are New York.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's so true. I mean, every city is definitely different personality, and I love how, like, feminine I feel like Paris is, and still it feels small even though it is a capital.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit more about, like, what inspires your designs, like, when you sit down to design lingerie, like, where do you start?
Well, there's different ways to start when you have a fashion collection. You could start from like the technical point of view, like I have these, patterns or just directly I have this fabric, I need to do something with this fabric. You could start there, or I love this fabric. Or like if you're in a more commercial type of, lingerie setup, it's mostly like you have like you actually draw out styles and then you find the fabric to go with the styles.
Mhm,
But since I'm so small, I can kind of do a mixture of both. It's mostly also what I can get my hands on since I am like very small.
mhm.
It's like kind of like a, something that really just kind of influences the way I work is the scale, like small fashion, small scale business, small business, and just slow
Yeah,
fashion in general. I think it's also the idea for me is to not keep stock because it's wasteful and it just I don't have the room for it too, and it just doesn't really fall in line with the whole slow fashion, anti-fast fashion, less waste
yeah,
type of
yeah,
mentality.
yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, I would say my designs are actually like they're very classic. They're not, a lot of designers out there are doing like really cool, interesting things with like avant-garde fabrics or cuts or whatnot. But I would say my my designs are fairly very classic.
Mhm.
But I do like to do things, things done simply but well. Let's just put it that way.
Simply but well, classic,
Yeah,
going back to the 1900s, even if it's not
yeah.
sim
I am a 1900s girl
talk about, like, the
or 19th century.
lingerie. Was lingerie created in France?
I mean, the style of lingerie we call, lingerie is considered French lingerie. And yes, a lot of it came from Europe, especially France.
Uh-huh.
Other countries were doing other things though, like for where I'm from in Japan, we didn't have lingerie in the way French people were lingerie, but we had like underclothes.
Yeah,
So I guess there's a fine line between like undergarments and what's considered lingerie, which is also something that's usually something to be displayed or beautiful. It's there's more care into the taken into the presentation and it's luxurious. It's not just for covering ourselves in our naughty bits,
yeah, yeah.
basically.
It's not just, like, practicality, it's more like
Exactly. It's not just practical, it's also beautiful. So form and function.
I like that. And when women come to you, like, you do, like, made to order designs or, like, sizing and things like that, so do you find that most women don't know what size they are? Like, I'm speaking from experience here, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this bra, I thought I was this size, but I'm definitely not that size."
Okay, that is definitely not your fault. And I will tell you why this is not your fault. This is because there is no one standard sizing system in the fashion industry.
Yeah,
No matter what, clothing like or lingerie, whatever, there is just isn't. So there's a general industry, standard that we all kind of use. But if you look at each brand, it's not the same. So you could be like 85B Princess Tam Tam, but then you're like a 90A or something, not, that's actually the same cup
yeah,
size, but just a totally different, bra size. And you're like, what happened? Did I lose weight? Did I gain weight? Is this just not the right cup for me?
yeah.
No, it's not your fault.
So by
It's not your
brand,
fault.
the size literally changes.
Yeah, so I always suggest to my customers and friends and just everybody who will listen to just, take the size you think you are and then get one size up and one size down and try them all.
Yeah.
and then you'll see what suits you best. And also, depending on the cut, it won't fit the same way.
Interesting. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very confusing, and this is something we've had to deal with our basically our entire lives, yet I feel so confused all the time about it. I'm like, "Why is this such a
No,
weird device?"
it's not your fault. And honestly, I feel so bad that why isn't this more of a common thing that we learn? Even like things like I think before, maybe when our parents were younger, they had maybe women who actually would like take your sizes and measure you in boutiques,
Yeah,
maybe. But that doesn't really exist anymore, and I would be very intimidated personally to go up to a sales lady or
yeah,
a saleswoman in a boutique, lingerie boutique, and ask her to measure me.
mhm.
I don't even think that's something that's done anymore, really.
Yeah, I remember being,
So
like, in Victoria's Secret, and they would, like, measure you or whatever, but and then it still didn't fit right. I'm like, "What are you ladies doing?"
well, that's because when you fit for, bras, it's not just about your band size and, whatever your that weird measurement they do where they like go across the
Yeah,
highest point of your bust. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, because not only is your band size is really important, but other than that, like you have to take account for breast shape
yeah,
and volume. So it's not just this, you could have like the same cup size as someone, but she has like saggy breasts, and you could have perky
yeah,
breasts, or it's just totally different from person to person. And that's what's actually very freeing, is that when you realize that actually there is no standard size, like nobody fits into a standard size.
wow. So we're all standard
So,
and not being standard.
well, actually, there are people who fit into standard sizes, and those are the fit models
Yeah.
probably. They were fit to, they fit the clothes to them, so I'm sure they fit into the
The
sizes.
standard,
But
yeah, the custom. And that's why a lot of people come to you to get, like, a custom-made bra, like, would that make a big difference in how things would feel?
oh yeah, totally. I mean, custom made anything is always, great if you can afford it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
even perfume or whatever, it's just customized, it's personalized, it's to your taste.
yeah.
It's great. It's
For
wonderful.
your body.
So, and yeah, for things that you can't find easily in stores, I do sell just like normal, I mean, straight to ready to wear lingerie also, but I do get actually a lot of customers, like not necessarily all, cis women. They're like a lot of them actually are cis men, and they just like dressing up in lingerie, but they can't find it in their size, or
Mhm.
just it's just, everyone should have access to nice lingerie and nice things. It's okay. Affordability wise, it's not always true. It's not always the case, but in theory, I think everybody should have access to it.
Yeah, and I think that's, like, more acceptable here about, like, because like, here in Paris, a lot of times you see drag and, like, even in the streets you see it, and then, like, the shows, and I could see how men, especially who wanna wear lingerie, like, they can't find
Yeah.
their sizes, and I have a hard time finding my size in a Paris shop because I'm, like, an American curvy woman, but, like, I can
Oh, come to me. I can fit you.
yeah, you can help me out, definitely, and we'll talk later.
We
And
will.
what is the difference between, would you say, French and American lingerie? Is there, like, a major difference?
I mean, the aesthetic is really, really different in terms of, fashion. Europeans tend to be much more subdued, subtle.
Mhm.
They like really like, they like nudes, they like peach flesh tones, they like, of course, black, and they like quality. They really like quality laces. They like nice things. They like silk. Whereas Americans are much more open, I guess, in terms of what they think is nice.
Mhm.
They like fun. A lot of times, Americans like fun things, like really colorful
Yeah.
things, and they like things to be trendy and like kind of fast fashion, I guess. And they don't necessarily buy in like terms of like, oh, I love this piece. It's expensive, but I'm gonna keep it forever and hand wash it. And it's there. I think it's not our fault, like as Americans, but we are definitely driven more towards fast
Yeah.
fashion. So I don't know that actually we're not educated in the quality of things, which is very sad.
Mhm.
Whereas I think Europeans, they do have a tradition of like having nice things, and or maybe even passed down. They have this sort of heirloom mentality where, nice things, it's like an investment. You keep it, you take care of it, and it lasts for a long time.
Yeah, yeah, and it's built to last
So
a little bit more if you take care of it.
exactly. I tell everyone to hand wash everything.
Yeah. And talk about, like, what is fast fashion and what is, like, the type of fashion you're doing? Some people might not know that word. We've had other shows about it, but how do you do it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are a lot of people defining it in different ways, but I think for the most part, we can define it as something like fast fashion is all those big chain stores like H&M, Zara, like all those big chain stores where they're very destructive for the environment already,
Mhm.
because of the what do you call it? The sorry, they consume so much
Yeah.
energy and resources, and it's just terrible for the environment, one. But it's also, I think, a mentality. It's We have so much, and it's so much of it just ending up in landfills. Do we really need to like own, 30 pairs of panties or whatnot,
Yeah.
or can I do with less? There's also definitely a philosophical side to it, which I definitely adhere to. But actually, because most every single piece of clothing you own is hand sewn. So to say something is hand sewn doesn't actually mean anything.
Mhm.
There are no robots sewing your clothes yet.
Yeah.
So when you say hand sewn, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but if it's each piece is made by hand with using like traditional techniques, it is not the same thing as, having a whole warehouse or like a production line where people, thousands and hundreds of people, okay, hundreds of people, they're sitting there and sewing all day, like the same thing every day, because that way, if each person is just doing one gesture, like one seam, you don't actually have to train somebody to do a whole pants. You could just do, here, you do the pockets, and you do pockets all day.
Wow.
It's a really sort of difficult, like hard, physically really hard way of making a living.
Yeah.
Can you imagine like working in a factory like that and doing the same like gesture over and over and over and over?
No.
It's inhumane.
Yeah. No, it's like
So,
an assembly line and
oh, it literally is, yeah.
yeah. And I thought for some reason in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, there's definitely robots making something by now." You just proved me wrong. Definitely not. People have
I think we're pretty far from getting it to the point because human beings are so amazing in what we can do in terms of our dexterity. There just isn't a robot yet that can copy, like can mimic us
yeah.
that well.
Yeah. No, and as far as, like, going back to what you said about, like, slow fashion and buying things to make them last so that we don't keep supporting, these inhumane conditions for people that are working to make things, and then we just trash them a couple months later, a year later, and then everything's made out of plastic too these days, like, so much
It is.
plastic.
I went shopping with a friend the other day and we were looking at sweaters and she's like, "Oh, it's wool." I'm like, "It's not wool. It's 100% acrylic." She's like, "Are you sure? It really feels like wool." I'm like, "No, look at this. Look at the label." She's like, "Oh, it's acrylic."
Yeah, I mean,
So
it's crazy how much they can match up even the feeling of that stuff.
yeah, it is really, really surprising and astounding and in a way amazing.
Yeah,
But yeah, polyester is plastic and plastic never, ever, ever goes away.
wow.
So, oh yeah, and I always tell my friends, like, if you're gonna take a flight, make sure you're wearing like, natural fibers because most people don't, perish in actual plane crashes. They perish in the fires. So if you're wearing polyester pants and polyester shirt and a polyester bra, well, that stuff is gonna melt and stick to you and you're gonna be
Gosh,
burnt.
that's terrifying. Okay, guys, when you're flying, no wearing plastic.
I know it's a little bit extreme, but it's a good example. It's like that stuff will melt on you. It really will. It's plastic.
Gosh, that's crazy. Do you think it's easier in Paris to find quality materials, like, especially for making your own stuff?
Um, The one thing I think is really an advantage in Paris fabric shopping is that you have access to a lot of high-end fashion houses when they have fabrics that they want to get rid of.
Yeah.
So if you go to the markets, fabric markets, they'll usually have like a few luxury fabric stores, but they're just getting direct shipments from these, high-end, like very high-end, really luxury houses.
Mhm.
And that's not something you can, I've never seen that in the States, maybe in New York, but in Los Angeles, I've never seen that before. So you have access to a lot of things, like, just cutoffs from different luxury labels. It's just something that I never seen before, like I said. So I think it's a great opportunity if you like to clothes shop and you're willing to pay a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, you can get some really, really nice fabrics here.
Yeah, and it is kinda surprising the access you do have to these luxury brands where you wouldn't think they would even, like, open their doors at all to, selling that stuff or whatever. Like, do you have a favorite area that you
Well,
like to go shop for the fabrics and things like that?
I do, but just actually, like, it's for the luxury houses, like let's say like Dior, Chanel, all that stuff. They don't like a lot of times they do actually destroy their own fabrics too because they don't want, counterfeit
Yeah.
clothes being made. But I think a lot of like, like wools, that have no logos and stuff
Mhm.
like that. Like I see them around.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty easy to find.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to go to the Marché Saint-Pierre.
Uh-huh.
The It's at Metro Anvers.
It's right next to me. I live just up the street from
Yeah.
there.
So yeah, the Pigalle
Yeah.
area, the Montmartre, Pigalle,
Yeah,
Anvers.
yeah.
It's it's really nice.
Lots of fabrics.
Um, I got the lace for my wedding dress there. It's very
Oh,
nice lace.
nice.
French lace, like 200 something euros a meter,
Wow.
I think.
Wow.
So I only bought 1 meter.
What makes, like, lace special? Like, lace is really hard to make?
Oh yeah, well traditionally lace is really time consuming to make. There's different, ways to make it by hand, on a loom, you could even crochet it. But it's really time consuming and just every single little, pattern is made up of tiny little threads and it just takes so much time and it's actually like a dying métier in
Mhm.
France. Like they don't a lot of these lace, there used to be a huge lace production
Yeah,
site in France, but it's little by little they just don't have any lace people left here.
that's so
So,
interesting. We won't have lace anymore. Oh my gosh. Well,
oh, you will. It'll come from China and it'll be like almost the same thing. But yeah, it's true. I was at a fabric show and they were explaining to me that yeah, the lace, we sell them our old lace machines,
yeah.
like to China, and they just, they sell the lace back to us, basically.
Wow, that's so funny. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope they can hold on to lace in Paris, but sounds like not.
Well, I mean, they'll never be innovative. The ones, if you buy an old, machine and you have old patterns, you're not going to be able to innovate and make new patterns because France does have some amazing lace makers. Like Solstice lace, for example, is like a beautiful, like traditional, like they've been around forever,
Yeah.
lace company.
There's, the
And
Japanese company here. I've done video in their store, and they specialize in lace. Oh, I can't remember their name, though. It's not Seish.
Mokuba,
What is it called?
yeah, well, they do trims. Mokuba,
Yes, exactly. They, like,
yeah,
have the special boxes they come out with their
yeah,
yeah, that's fascinating. So much lace in there.
yeah. I mean, I've been in there.
You know.
I know.
Talk a little bit about, like, body positivity in your brand. Like, how do you feel about that with your brand? What are you trying to do with your brand in that way?
Well, it's interesting growing up. I think you and I are probably about the same age, so you remember all those Victoria's Secret catalogs
Mhm.
growing up, and there was really no such thing as body positivity. Like, just basically, you have to fit into this mold of a perfect, body, and if you don't, then you just either are too tall, too short, too fat, or
Yeah.
whatever. But I love this sort of like, I love this emerging. It all came in with like Me Too and the feminist stuff, but it's, this really extreme, in quotes body positivity where just like, you know what? So, fat positivity and all that stuff. I love it. It's so freeing. It's so great. Like for once you're not like less than or like, you're just not a failure or you're just something missing from, you're like enough as you are, which is great. And I mean, I love the idea of like queering lingerie. Like it's not just for, heteronormal straight girls, it's for
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
So I love that
That's
idea.
such a new idea, especially like you said, like growing up, we only saw like the most skinny, perfect bodies, and now even today in Paris, I'm surprised to see billboards with like larger, curvier women, not even larger, just like normal bodies, it's like
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's totally fine to say this, we like this aesthetic. Let's say the white European catwalk model type aesthetic. We like that. But I think it's hugely problematic to say this is the only aesthetic that we like.
yeah,
Like there should be variety.
yeah,
I think that's clearly the problem is there is no, variety. And the more you see something, the normal it gets, because otherwise I mean, me growing up, being fat was definitely not a good thing. The way I heard it talked about, it was definitely not a good thing. And, I heard, I mean, well, my mother told me like, you have no breasts. And I knew that was a bad thing,
yeah, yeah.
so.
You're like, "Okay, mom, thanks." I'm like, "No one ever needs to tell us what's wrong with us. We've already dissected ourselves." Like,
Exactly. I know. We're so hard on ourselves. Geez,
do you
So like
oh, no, what were you
oh, sorry. Oh, just saying, so instead of like squeezing into like sizes that we don't fit into, like clothes that we fit into, like the clothes should fit us, which is what it used to be in the very beginning when, when before clothing was mass
yeah,
manufactured, most people just had clothes that were handmade, either by, themselves or their mothers, I don't know, the tailor.
yeah.
But everything was made to measure.
Yeah.
And it's like things have gone backwards now. Now we're all trying to fit into ready to wear, which is not working. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. It just makes us feel bad about ourselves.
Yeah, and it's bad for the environment too. So it's like no one wins.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose except for the industry's making all the money, I guess.
Exactly, exactly. And do you remember the um, the factory in Bangladesh that was that, there was a huge tragedy there, and it was a fire in the factory and so many people
Yeah,
died, most of them women and
yeah, yeah,
children.
yeah.
Yeah, and they were, making clothes for like
Yeah.
H&M, people like that, so you gotta, ask yourself, was it really worth it? Like, do these people deserve to die because they want to wear cheap clothes?
Yeah, exactly, and I think more and more people are becoming aware because I just think people didn't know. They're really good at hiding that stuff, and that's why it's
Oh yeah, of
talk about
course.
it.
Yeah, definitely can't put the onus on the consumer. We're just being lied to left, right, and center. So
Yeah, definitely, which is creating, like, awareness and holding the brands accountable, like
yes, that's definitely an accountability.
yeah,
And obviously not everyone can afford to not shop, like H&M, whatnot.
mhm,
It's a really affordable solution for a lot of people, but if you have like some means, I don't and you don't have to, I think it's worth questioning.
or asking them to do better.
Yeah, definitely. Those two things go hand in hand.
Yeah, definitely.
Demand better.
Demand better. And so when you're working with women and men for that matter, like, do you find over and over again, do you find people who love their bodies, or is it usually the opposite of saying, "Oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. Can you make this work for me?"
Yeah, you see a lot of social conditioning there because women tend to like apologize for their bodies, or you say, yeah, like I want to cover this up or whatnot, or sorry, my butt's too big, or what kind of, it's like a strange thing to apologize
Yeah.
for. So, that's what's great about made to order is that it's made to your size. So if you don't find like a standard size, if you don't fit a standard size, I can make it to your size, So it's like that's great.
Yeah, yeah. Where it's funny what you said about, like, we apologize for our bodies. That's so true. It's like,
Yeah,
much
it's like take as little space as possible.
yeah, yeah, I'm sorry for existing.
Exactly.
And how do you define creativity? Like, what would you say it is?
Well, creativity, to me is the life source.
Yeah,
It's really the reason why like I get up in the morning if I do.
I love that.
Because yeah, no, because it's sort of to me it is a life source. It's in contrast to, for example, depression, which I suffer
Mhm.
from time to time, and it's really the opposite of that. It really is the thing that kicks you and gives you a little bit of like a
Yeah,
boost to me anyway. It makes everything worthwhile.
I like that. Gives you a boost.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds kind of well, I mean, I had classes in college about creativity and the whole theories and the flow, and I think that's really super
Yeah,
interesting. And I think it's so unique and personal to everybody, no matter what we create, or we don't even have to create anything. Creativity isn't about being an artist. It's a way of just really looking at the world in a different way, like full of possibilities and not being closed to the world. I think it's just about being open-minded, open-hearted, and I think creativity, like the actual production part of creativity, can stem from there.
I like that a lot because I think a lot of people associate creativity with you have to be a painter or you have to be like, a full-on artist. But what you said is just about being open and just like finding your like flow states, finding something that really brings you joy.
Exactly.
And why do you think creatives are attracted to Paris?
Well, I mean, there's a huge tradition of creatives here, especially for Americans. It's a huge expat community, the tradition of, the lost generation, etc. But in general, it's a country that really has always invested in aesthetics, in art, in beautiful buildings, in food. It's just a country that seems like, that's like, and you can tell it's important to France.
Yeah, they
Whereas,
value.
whereas, exactly, priorities,
Yeah.
like public funding and stuff. But I grew up like, with strip malls and stuff like that. I don't know about you, but so it's definitely not the same deal.
Yeah, yeah, it feels completely different, and, like, telling a French person I'm a photographer, they're like, "Oh, okay, cool, that's your full-time job," but when you say that to an American, they're like, "Okay, what else do you do?" Like, hard to
Really?
believe.
That's really
Yeah,
bad.
they think, like, you can't make a living just doing something, like, artistic or fully creative.
Hmm.
So I do they
Really?
value it a little bit more here. Um,
Yeah, and I think like people have a good general, knowledge of, culture, aesthetic culture
Yeah.
here. They learn it, I guess, in school. But people who aren't necessarily involved in art or making art or even consuming art are just generally very, very, they just really know so much more than the general public, I would say, in other places. Like, people are really excited about museum exhibits here, just like normal people,
Yeah.
like not just artists. So they make huge lines. Like sometimes you can't even get in. You have to come back later because they're just huge amounts of like, people with their kids, just everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like
It's
a whole country sort of
It's
thing.
always surprising to me that, like, people spend their weekends I mean, it's not surprising, but, like, in the States, it's like, "Oh, you're an artist, you're going to art school, so you're going to the museum," but here, like you said, it's just, like, everyday engineer dude with his kids wants to go to art exhibition, or whatever. It's, like, very much part of their culture.
Exactly. It's just part of the culture. So it's just, no big deal. We just appreciate art, no big
I
deal.
love that. And what are you most excited about for your future work?
To just work,
Just
basically.
working.
Because yeah, because I don't know if this is I think I read somewhere it was like some sort of study, but they did say that artistic temperaments usually go hand in hand with like depression and those sorts of mood
Yeah,
disorders. And I don't know if that's true for everyone, but for me it is true.
yeah,
So I have a hard time getting my productivity, stable and really being on the dot and just being continually working all the time in a really stable manner.
yeah.
So to me, anytime I can actually work, I have the energy for it, that I'm in the right mood for it, or just, can get out of bed
Yeah.
for it, to me is a good day.
No,
So
that's so true, though. I mean, we do have our and I think it's just like life in general. We have our high highs and our low lows, and especially when you're giving something like creating something basically from you, from your mind, from your soul, it can be really draining. So sometimes you need little
yeah. And it's intimidating. I mean, you set up your own business by yourself in a foreign country, like kudos, it's like big, big wow, that's really great. But people don't realize how much it takes out of you. I mean, I guess it takes certain type of personality, first of all, but second of all, if you're not that personality and you do it anyway, it's really
even
hard.
harder. Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
be really dedicated, and you can't walk away because if you don't do things, things don't get done.
Exactly.
And where can people connect with you online? And if people in America want to order from you, they can. You ship internationally. Tell us more about where they can connect with you.
Yes, so I have a lot of American clients, which is great. So I have a website. It's www.lesbonnesvivantesparis.com, which is like LESBONNESVIVANTES point and then Paris.com.
Perfect.
And I also have with the same handle, Les Bonnes Vivantes Paris, I have an Instagram, a Facebook, and I even have a Ko-fi, I think, and an Etsy.
You're on all the things, and we can put
All the things.
all the things,
Yeah.
and we can put that in the show notes too, so you guys can just click on the links in the show notes and connect directly with I. Thank
Oh, and just one thing is we are having actually like local sales soon, and I think you remember Molly Main, the
you.
painter, my American painter friend. We host like I say, local sales, lingerie sale, painting sale.
Very cool.
So yeah, if anyone's interested, they could connect on our Instagram.
Definitely. So people, if you want to meet in person, if you're in Paris or you live here, you're visiting, connect online with her on Instagram or her website, and you can see the stuff in person and talk to her in person. Thank you so much for chatting with me today, and I can't wait to see what you will create next.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was great fun.
Thanks so much for tuning in to La Vie Creative. You can find more information on MissParisPhoto.com. And if you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word for all my creative guests. We have the power to help them to keep doing what they love. See you next time.